before he's 90.
He's sitting next to him and said, Tom, I'm a young guy. So what's on your mind, Linda? Good to hear from you again.
Well, it's good to call in, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to call in when Mary Ann was on last week also.
Yeah, she did a wonderful job, I might add. Although, unfortunately, she's going to be living in a tent down by the park, by the Chautauqua Lake, because they're doing away completely with the Office for the Aging.
No, they're not.
All service. Yes, I read it in the front page of the paper.
No, they'll never do away with the Office for the Aging.
That's straight from Greg. He said it's going, and not only going, all services.
No.
Yep. I'll send you a copy of the paper if you'd like.
I know. Somebody told me about that, but...
Yeah, and of course he's cutting everything else. We're going to lose all our police. We're going to lose our parks. We're going to lose our senior services. We're going to lose also the Office for the Veterans Affairs. It's going to be cut way back to nothing. And I don't know what's... As Mike has pointed out, everybody's running out of Chautauqua County as fast as they can go. This ought to send another wave out of the All right, whatever.
Well, you have to contact your, where the state has got a big deficit, you just have to contact your representatives. How are things going with you, Mike?
Well, pretty well. I can't complain a lot.
His legislative body just double-crossed him and threw out his budget and jacked it up to double what it was.
Well, they didn't double it.
It was a lot.
No, they didn't double it. No, I mean, I think it's the same problem a lot of people in government have, is we know the writing on the wall, we know the population's declining, we know that the cost of government operations are constantly going up. The fixed costs that you have based on health benefits, retirement, and then the problem everybody feels, well, we'll borrow something and pay it later. Well, that adds to the cost when you pay it back. No matter how good your interest rate is, you're just delaying the inevitable. And unfortunately, with the declining population, in Fredonia, we've also had declines in our assessed values. We had a lot of development went up and over the last 5 years, and now all of those properties that have been built have filed for and received tax assessment reductions. And in one case, we had a property that it turns out it's actually owned by a church, and because it's owned by a church, it gets the total tax exemption, even though the operation is a housing complex and the residents pay. And if they're not able to pay the full rate, it's picked up by HUD and a few other agencies. So they're not even getting a charitable amount from the owner for the right to live there, but it's considered totally tax exempt. We lost around $800,000 of assessed value this year. We lost $400,000 a year before. And all that does is shifts more of the cost of government onto the individual homeowner.
And usually it's the other way around. You have more additions and houses and whatever going up, so you gain. Right. And so this is murder, huh?
And the problem, when you're gaining, it's easy to spend. And nobody anticipates that a property is going to be taken off the tax roll later, and that you're not going to have that revenue to spend. And so everybody pushes to have things built, and then the end product is you're farther behind the 8 ball, because you have to provide services to that property. You have to make sure you have the essential services available to provide services to a housing complex that'll have 70 people, or a larger one of 3 stories that we have with the students off of the privately owned student housing. There was a lot of it built over the last 8 years in Fredonia, and those are all now getting exemptions. But we need to make sure that we provide the same service to those homes as we do to the private property owner in his home. And unfortunately, the bigger
visits.
Oh yeah.
So
now, did I understand you correctly, Mike, that the student housing is exempt also?
Well, first of all, everything that the university owns is. But what they have is, between Temple and Brigham in Fredonia, there were a number of properties built. And when they were built, they were going to be at full assessed value. And what has happened is, once they get it built and the assessor gives its first valuation to the property, they then turn around and say, well, yeah, it might have cost us that much to build, but we've had an appraisal done now, and the property's really only worth 2/3 of what you're assessing us at. And with that kind of data, they're entitled to a reduction in what their assessed value is.
Yeah, and the university has bought some of them outright too, hasn't it?
Not the ones that get.
I'm talking about on Central.
Central.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they have purchased some houses over the years, and those become tax exempt.
Sure.
But you have a real crunch on the other taxpayers when large housing units, high density housing units are built, and then they are given a tax break. One of the things I've tried to do is to make sure that we don't put any money from the taxpayers into our water or our sewer fund. We stopped doing that when I was a trustee back in the late 80s, and it's a constant pressure is to make sure that the users of those two services are paying for it fully, because that cost does get spread out to everybody fairly. It's based on how much you use, and it's a fair way of collecting the revenue to provide water and wastewater treatment. But it's a constant battle, and right now, with the decline of over $1 million of assessed value in the last 2 years, the private property owners are picking up an extra burden, and they're picking it up at a higher tax rate. And we've had, out of the last 3 years, I've proposed budgets that would have cut taxes each of those years, and in each of the 3 years, we've had 2 years with increases and 1 year where it was capped.
Okay, I want to mention the fact that the clock is ticking. We just have another few seconds. Linda, you run a program which may or may not still be in existence, but tell us what you do.
It will be in existence.
You're sure? You might be in another tent right next to Marianne down by the park, though.
If people are interested in senior services or the senior employment program, they should call the Chautauqua County Office for the Aging at 753-4471. Toll free from the Dunkirk, Fredonia area is 363-4471.
Okay.
Well, have a great day.
Okay,
and
you too. Say hello to the old guy, and I hear the doggies. You know, he's teaching the dogs to play the accompaniment on the piano, and he plays the penny flute.
Yeah, he was playing the penny whistle a while ago, but he stopped for some reason.
He told me he was going to play it for us, but we'll catch him next time. Anyway, have a great day.
Okay, you have a great day and a great weekend as well.
Well, thank you.
You too. Bye now.
I just got this horrible noise. We're out of here. This one is out. I want to give you just a few seconds, all uninterrupted to close up.
Oh,
Time is up now.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hey, I'm just happy we were able to get through a full hour.
But we haven't broadcasted yet. You know, outside the original. This is an original broadcast.
That's true. The last time I was here, I got home, and about 11 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call from you telling me that the show had to be scrapped.
We canned it, right?
Because of the comments made by one of the callers.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone, get involved, watch what's going on in your governments. Get the message out that you can't afford continuing increases. When I ran for mayor, one of my buttons, my own buttons, was a title, Vote for Dr. No. You need to find people who are willing to say no and to control the costs. It's easy to say yes. When you get, every good idea has at least one person who's behind it and wants it done, and they're going to show up at meetings, and they're typically, because they're there, they're going to get what they're asking for. You really need to look for people who are able to say no, who are able to say that we have to weed through all of the ideas and pick the ones that we can afford and that are necessary.
Okay, thank you very much. It's nice to be able to say no occasionally, although you sometimes run into opposition with your board.
Hey, you know.
What are you going to do? I think you're doing a great job over there, Mike. And
Thanks.
Fredonia never looked better,
Thanks.
and the programs are never better that I've seen. I want to thank an awful lot of extra people over here. I want to thank all the callers. Sorry, last caller, we didn't get you, but Mike will be back sometime if we run this. I think if we don't run it, he'll never come back.
Yeah, 3 was supposed to be the charm.
Yeah, right. I want to thank Chuck Kelsey out there, Devin Taylor. I want to thank Chris Bird. I want to thank Chris Remaker, Mort Flexer, Randy Bird, all those other people, Jeff Zook, and Dan Zenz. All those people listening. And you know what? You can watch us on YouTube anytime you get sick and tired of watching us on TV. In the meantime, may all that is proud and true and noble abide with you. I'm Reed Powers.